Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, Universal Mastery. Welcome back to my public YouTube channel. We have a very interesting subject that we are going to be speaking about in our today's video. We are talking about the authentic masculine energy and the authentic feminine energy, and how these two energies can manifest themselves in our everyday life within the man and within the woman. However these energies move, okay? What I'm going to be kind of looking at here is I'm going to be looking at the expression of the authentic masculine as well as the expression of the authentic feminine, and I'm even going to be touching on some of the inauthentic aspects of both of these energies and how these will commonly show up in our everyday life through both men and women alike. If this is something that you are interested in, then I highly recommend that you stay tuned for the rest of this video, and I will see you on the other side. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started here. So we're talking about the authentic masculine and the authentic feminine. So I'm going to be referring to these in today's video between the man and the woman, but obviously these energies can also be interchangeable. Masculine, feminine can manifest itself in, both men and women. So if you're if you're someone who's gay, someone who's lesbian, or someone who's trans in that regards, these energies are always fluctuating within the system. And to have these energetic polarities, it becomes very valuable when you're starting to understand yourself and understanding, which energy archetype that you're going to be assuming when it comes to different relationships and when it comes to creating a family and things in that nature. Okay? So let's go ahead and get started. So we have the authentic masculine and the authentic feminine. What do I mean by this? This is like the natural state that most men should be in when it comes to honoring their inner process and honoring the reality of, partnership and creating a relationship. So what would that general idea of authentic masculine look like? And then in contrast to the archetype of the authentic feminine. And what would that look like? Specifically, within self individually, and then as it does seem to show up in a relationship to eventually lead to the creation of a family. All right. And this is obviously going to have ripple effects within an entire generation of humans and species of being, which is why this topic becomes very significant to actually look at. So, and not only that, let me say this too, these authentic energies, as they manifest themselves within you as the listener, it is going to lead you to the life that you truly want to live the most. It's going to be the most satisfying creation that you can step into with that energy inside of yourself and how it manifests your reality. Okay, so that's another important thing to understand about this. So the authentic masculine is going to generally look like this. It's going to be a man who is grounded in his core, who is grounded in his authenticity, and understands the most important thing in his life is one, being authentic, having that relationship to himself, and then his purpose. So that relationship to self and authenticity there, that is a part of the purpose. And then from that space, that is then going to manifest itself outwardly in some way. So for someone like myself, it's me making this YouTube video. It's me in my entire channel, Universal Mastery. It's me and all the different stuff that I'm doing with self-development, spirituality, and occultism. That's my purpose manifesting outwardly. So that is going to be the authentic masculine. And the first piece of what that is having that relationship to self, being grounded in authenticity, and then committing to the purpose and how the purpose expresses itself. So that's going to look like, that's going to have a lot of different nuance to it, obviously. But when that starts to move into a relationship with a woman, what that's going to look like is the man in that relationship is going to be, once again, honoring his authenticity. He's going to be grounded in that. And then he's going to be committed to his purpose before everything else. So as this man moves into a relationship, he is committing to his partner as, in many ways, a part of himself. But his first priority is always going to be his purpose. It is always going to be what he is here to do. And the woman is going to inherently understand that and recognize that it's not something that's personal and that it's not something that she's less than his purpose, but realizing that she becomes a part of his purpose in that relationship dynamic. So the authentic masculine, what he's going to do is he's going to be a protector and a provider and a healthy containment for the woman, for the feminine. So what he's going to do in this way is he's going to, as he's grounded in his authenticity, as he's committed to his purpose, he is going to be able to financially support his woman. He's going to be able to emotionally support his woman. He's going to be able to show her that he's always got her back and that he's always there for her through ups and through downs. He's going to show her aspects of himself that he is willing to fight for and that he is willing to even die for her protection. So in other words, he's going to display certain types of gestures that show he would be willing to defend her or protect her at all costs, even if that means absolutely putting his own life at risk. All of these different forms of support and all of these different forms of love is going to give the woman a sense of safety, and it's going to give her a sense of containment, a sense of feeling like she can trust him because his purpose is grounded in his authenticity and it's something that he's committed to, but he also takes her as a part of his purpose. And that's, once again, going to give the woman a sense of safety, a sense of trust, a sense of being loved, and that sense of containment. Okay? So that is generally, in a nutshell, what the authentic masculine energy is going to look like. And of course, no one's perfect. So the way that I'm describing it, I'm not trying to create this like perfect, idealized man that is able to be these things perfectly, because that is never the case. That's never going to happen. But if you have these qualities to you as a man and you are able to be honest about them inside of yourself, and you're able to commit to your partner, you're able to provide safety, not just financially, but emotionally, mentally, and physically, and you're able to show that you are trustworthy by being who you are and being committed to yourself in that way, you are able to show her that you're there to protect her, that you're there to keep her safe. Meaning if she says certain things or tries to do certain things that you feel like aren't safe, you're willing to step up and communicate and say how you feel about it to show that you care. If you're able to do this as a man, generally speaking, this would be an authentic masculine energy. Okay? So that is a really important thing to understand. Now let's go ahead and let's go into the inauthentic masculine energy. So the inauthentic masculine energy is going to, one, first and foremost, at the foundation, not be grounded in the authentic self. It's going to be fluctuating within the false self, or maybe back and forth. Okay, but I think a lot of the times this energy is rooted in a false self. So the inauthentic masculine energy can show up in many different ways. It can show up as not being loyal, not being committed, not being honest, not living the purpose within, because remember, the purpose is rooted in authenticity. That's where it starts, you know? So how are you going to express that in the world around you if you're not doing it within? So you're not going to be living your purpose, and you're most likely not going to have your finances in order as a man. And what this is going to do is this is going to send a lot of signals to the woman, to the partner that you're with, showing them that you are not trustworthy, that they are not safe with you, that they cannot trust you, and that there is no containment. There's just an open end jar where everything goes. And that's gonna, reiterate not feeling safe and not being able to trust you. So as a man, if you're still thinking that, it's okay to be dishonest in a relationship, or you're not ready to fully commit to someone that you're actually in a relationship with, if you are not being honest with yourself and not starting to address, the trauma that's inside of your system and heal some of those wounds so that you can integrate those things, if you're not allowing yourself to recognize those things and, start that process of being more honest and authentic to who you actually are, then inherently that's going to have a lot of effects on pretty much anyone around you, but it's absolutely going to have a direct effect on your partner if you are in a relationship, or if you plan on getting in a relationship from that space. Now, I don't want to say this in a way where you have to be perfect, because none of this is black and white. So this does not mean as a man you have to be perfect with all of these things, but you have to have that intention. You have to have the intention of wanting to be true to you and wanting to be that safe, healthy protector, containment for your partner. Okay? So the inauthentic masculine is going to do stuff like they're going to be cheating. They're not going to be honest with their partner. They're going to cheat. They're going to be doing things here and there, and then their partner might ask about it, and they're going to actively lie. They're not going to be honest. They're going to have opportunities that might present themselves that allow them to get into a better financial position, and they're going to reject or turn away from those opportunities because they feel like they don't want to go through that. They don't want to go through the process of what that would entail. So they're going to always reject that and seek lesser options just to, just get by, just to survive. Okay? They're going to oftentimes be riddled with different unhealthy coping mechanisms. That could be drugs, that could be video games, it could be unhealthy foods, whatever the case is. There's going to be oftentimes a lot of different unhealthy coping mechanisms that are going to be at play because they're constantly trying to distract themselves and keep themselves away from who they are for whatever reason they're doing it for, They're not going to be honoring the masculine energy in their system when it comes to leadership and when it comes to protection. So, for example, if they're with a partner and their partner says something that maybe isn't safe and the man recognizes it, the man is not going to stand up and say it as a leader, hey, I don't think that's safe. I would appreciate if we did it this way instead. He's not going to stand in his masculine authority because he doesn't either feel worthy to do that or he doesn't care. He's not committed to her enough to do that. He's just trying to please her and let her get by. Or, he's trying to please her so that he can get by in the relationship, which oftentimes can mean he would be much more willing to be unfaithful in that relationship if he entered into the relationship as a faithful person. So dishonest. So he's going to, allow his partner to do things that in many ways he would have the opportunity to see and recognize and be able to show leadership and show masculine protection, but he's going to deny that in his system. He's not going to let that shine through because of the reasons we discussed. Okay? All of these things are absolutely going to riddle within his partner, and his partner is going to feel unloved. She's going to feel unsafe. She's going to feel like there's no containment with the relationship, and most likely she's going to feel like she needs to take the reins. So she's going to probably feel like she needs to step into more of a masculine energy, and then that's just going to cause more problems in the relationship in general. And this is a very common thing that does happen in relationships, unfortunately. So that is definitely something that takes place, and that would be a very clear manifestation of an inauthentic masculine male person energy entering into a relationship, but also within self. Okay, now let's shift over and let's look at the woman. So we look at the authentic feminine inside of the woman. This is a woman that has been through a significant process of self-development, just like the man has, the authentic masculine. So this woman has most likely been through a lot of shit in her life to the point where she's probably had, assuming she didn't have a safe upbringing, assuming she didn't have a healthy family dynamic, which is most cases, she's probably had to build a relationship with her masculine energy to such a degree that it was probably quite out of hand at certain points in her life. So she most likely has been through some experiences where she's had to let that masculine energy come through her system to create that containment, to create that protection and that inner safety, so that she can even feel safe in general. But through her process, she's had the intention of wanting to be in her feminine energy, her authentic feminine energy. So what that's allowed her to do is it's allowed her to manifest certain situations and circumstances and relationships that present that opportunity to further open up that feminine energy within self. So the authentic feminine from that point is able to trust the masculine energy outside of herself. So in the context of relationship, she understands that she doesn't want to have to be a man. She understands that she doesn't want to have to control everything or want to have to always be in a leadership position or always want to have to contain herself. The authentic feminine knows this through her own life experience, which takes a lot of work for a woman to do. She knows this, so she is now in a state where she's working on her own feminine energy interpersonally. And she's starting to build that relationship with her authentic self, with that feminine energy. That's the first start of it. It's always the foundation. That's her purpose, is making sure she's connected to her authenticity. And then that feminine energy starts to manifest through the system, and it starts to manifest that purpose externally. So oftentimes this can look quite different from the woman to the man in regards to how it manifests externally. A lot of times for men, the authentic masculine, the purpose becomes an actual thing. It's like this, it's this business that we run. It's this thing that we do. It's something that we're doing to try to leave some form of a legacy, not only for our family, but for, a legacy for our family and an impact within the planet. Whereas a lot of the times for the woman, that purpose is going to manifest in other ways that are softer and that are more gentle and that allow the feminine energy to actually spread more and more and more. Okay? So for the woman, it's going to start manifesting itself in creating more opportunities, situations, circumstances, environments, and relationships that allow that feminine energy to further blossom. And that is where the man comes into play, where he becomes sort of like a manifestation of her own feminine receptivity, where she's now ready to take her authentic feminine energy development to an even deeper level. And this is where, when she starts to get into a relationship with a man, she's now able to trust the man. She's now able to be contained by the man. She's now able to allow him to protect her in ways that maybe she's not seeing. And she's trusting this. She's allowing this to happen, and she's seeing the appreciation in these types of things that in the past she may have had to control and had to figure out herself. So there's like a feminine appreciation of realizing, wow, I don't need to do those things anymore. I don't have to be this way anymore. I can start to relax into my authenticity and allow my natural feminine energy to flow. And the man, I can trust that the man is going to protect me. He's going to create containment for me. He's going to be authentic to himself. And he's going to support me in all the ways that I feel like I need that support. And I can trust that. So the authentic feminine then becomes the nurturer. She becomes this like gentle force that absolutely can be fierce when needed. But she overall becomes a gentle force that is able to nurture everything around her. So this literally, when a woman is in this energy, this authentic feminine, she becomes this almost like this archetypal mothering, nurturing type of force that just permeates through every single person she interacts with, environments, situations, and circumstances, and into the collective consciousness. So in many ways, her just being her in that state is actually extremely healing and healthy for everything that she interacts with. And of course, when it comes to the man, she becomes a nurturer for the man as well, for her partner. She is then able to help nurture his process and his authentic self and his emotions, while he is able to, once again, work with her and be able to create that containment and have that nice dynamic take place between both of them. Okay? So this eventually leads to the ability to create a family, where from the authentic feminine, she then decides that she's ready to have children as she communicates with her partner, and her partner feels the same way from the authentic masculine. And then they can create a family together. And from this family, the kids, they are going to have a mother and a father that are in their energies appropriately. So once again, as a woman, you're going to have masculine and feminine. As a man, you're going to have masculine and feminine. But in regards to the polarity of how the relationship manifests, the man will be the man, the woman will be the woman. The man will be more masculine and the woman will be more feminine. It is a natural polarity. So the children get to grow up seeing the polarity difference within their parents, and it gives them a much more holistic approach to their inner development and understanding of who they are. They have a mother that's very gentle and very soft for the most part, and is able to hear them and is able to be there and nurture them at an emotional level and even a sensational level. And then they have a father that is a solid figure in the home, someone who is trustworthy, someone who is consistent, someone who creates structure and protection. Okay? And as the kids get to grow up with parents that generally display these energetic qualities. And remember, as I'm saying this, it's not 100%. It's not like women are 100% always gentle, soft, and nurturing. It's not men are always 100% always this solid, grounded figure that's providing containment, whatever. It fluctuates. We're humans. We're not perfect, but generally speaking, these energies will manifest between the man and the woman. And as children grow up with parents like this, they have this deep sense of balance that is being manifest in their life, because they have a mother that they can understand is going to be there for them to nurture them if they ever need it. And they have a father that's always going to be there to protect them and create that sense of safety through containment. And a child growing up in that is going to, very much so come out to be quite a healthy child, or quite a influential child to the collective consciousness. It's almost a given when you have a healthy family dynamic, as healthy as you can be, because, trauma is going to get passed down regardless. Like, no matter who you are, no matter how, well you're connected to yourself, trauma will always be passed down. But there is a big difference from a healthy, holistic family that understands these polarities and are honoring them within themselves, between a broken family where that's not understood, things are inverted, and there's either a missing father in the home or a missing mother from the home. Okay? That is the importance of the authentic masculine and feminine. What is the inauthentic feminine? The inauthentic feminine oftentimes looks like a woman who is just feeling like she doesn't need men at all. A woman who feels like not only that she doesn't need men, but she's so in denial about her authentic feminine energy that she finds ways to kind of look at men as weaker, or look at men as if they're not important in society. And she oftentimes is going to be like she's going to try to compensate for that in other ways. So she's going to be really directed towards being successful in some regard with some form of business. Oftentimes that's how it's going to manifest. And she's going to have this really strong, chip on her shoulder when it comes to men in general. So if an inauthentic woman gets into a relationship with a man, she's going into that relationship already with a foundation where she doesn't trust him at all. So even though there may be like a period of time where they get to know each other before getting into an actual committed relationship, she's still inherently not going to trust him, because she's carrying this inner resentment towards men, which is probably going to be rooted in her trauma related to men from the past. So she's going to continuously say things, she's going to continuously do things and reiterate things that shows that she does not trust the man that she's with. And then this is going to make the man that she's with feel like, well, if you don't trust me, then why are we here together? Or if you can't trust me, then, that's just hurtful. That's a lot of energy to have to work through if you're choosing to not trust me and choosing to not allow me to be the man that I naturally am. And that's going to obviously lead to different arguments. It's going to lead to different types of challenges within the relationship. So the inauthentic feminine is going to feel like she's always having to kind of like challenge the man or resist the man, even when he's being authentic, even when he's just being a healthy masculine support. She's still going to try to find ways to challenge that, and she's going to maybe create stories in her mind around what's actually happening and why she needs to be doing that. And then she's also going to be kind of operating in a way where she is trying to separate herself from the man as well. So what do I mean by this? They can be in a relationship together. And remember, the healthy masculine and feminine, what happens is they create a union. They create a unity together. And then they build something. The unhealthy feminine is going to try to create they're going to try to be in a relationship because, there are parts of them that want to go into that. But then they're going to have these other parts that are not authentic to who they truly are, that are going to be causing them to feel like they need to separate from the man as well. So they're in a relationship, but they're also saying, I have to be separate from you at the same time. So it's kind of like the same analogy of slamming the gas and the brakes on the car at the exact same time and just getting this weird burnout. That's exactly what happens with the unauthentic feminine energy. It's like there's no trust, there's no foundation of trust. She doesn't yet trust herself to be able to release that masculine energy inside of herself that needs that sense of containment and control and safety for herself, she hasn't gotten to the point where she's had enough experience with that energy to then be able to release it and allow herself to look for that in another man. So she's still holding on to that, and she's wanting to separate from him. So she has to make all of her own money. She has to always be financially, independent no matter what. So she can't get into a position where she has to basically depend on the man. And actually, the inauthentic feminine, the way that she looks at that word of depending on a man, it makes her feel disgusted. It makes her feel so gross and so like it's a bad thing, when in reality, being able to depend on a healthy man means that you're able to trust and you're able to be taken care of. And there's safety and love that you can let in when that happens. But she's not perceiving it from that space yet because she's still healing through traumas in the past that makes her feel like she has to still be so independent. And of course, what does that do? It blocks off the healthy masculine from actually coming in if the woman is in that state. And then it's going to manifest in all these other types of things where she's going to try to reiterate why she is the way that she is. She's going to try to gain certain control over the relationship. In some regards, she's going to try to overpower and control the man. And if the man is in the inauthentic masculine energy, then she's going to, in this case, become the masculine and he's going to become the feminine. He's going to be more passive. She's going to be more controlling. And that's what happens. And this is actually what happens in a lot of different relationships today. So this is just the reality of it. And let me say this too, with the authentic masculine and authentic feminine energy going into a relationship, those relationships are not perfect either. There are a lot of times where people kind of get into these relationships and they're not being completely authentic with themselves. So the man is not all the way authentic with himself. The woman's not all the way authentic with herself, but they at least have the intention of wanting to be that. And that is going to be, an intense relationship. There's going to be a lot of stuff that bubbles up. There's going to be a lot of stuff that comes through. There's going to be a lot of arguments. There's going to be a lot of challenges, a lot of tension at times. But if that intention is there and that commitment is there, they will eventually allow these energies to naturally surface and they will assume their polarities organically. And it will happen within time. So there's many different ways to kind of observe this process. There are some people that have been through enough life experience where they already know themselves enough to say, this is who I am, this is what I am, this is what I'm looking for. And then they come together and it is a little bit more harmonious. And then a lot of the times there are the inauthentic masculine, the inauthentic feminine, and they don't have that intention of really doing that inner work. And it just becomes this battle, becomes this toxic cycle that's just a reiteration of past trauma, and then it breaks off at some point. And then you have the same situation where they both have the intention of wanting to get it figured out and wanting to work through those things, and it becomes a really challenging experience, but then there are many breakthroughs that happen along the way and they're able to honor their process. Okay? So this is the message that I wanted to communicate in this today's video. I want to give a shout out to every man that is out there that is in their authentic masculine energy, that is committing to themselves and is committing to who they are authentically as a person and are able to provide that safety, that containment, that protection, and that support for the women in your life. I want to give a special shout out to any man that is listening to this video that is honoring that energy, because that is very rare to find and it takes a lot of commitment to self to be that, and it's a beautiful thing. So I just want to recognize that. Now I want to give a special shout out to all of the women as well that are honoring their authentic feminine energy. A special shout out to you, especially in our today's time, because I know how scary it is to allow yourself to be in that feminine energy and to allow that to actually come through in a healthy way. I know that there's a lot of women that are still stuck working through their own masculine energy, feeling like they want to be completely independent their whole life and, be independent from men. I can understand that. I know that's very common, but I also understand that when a woman is in her authentic feminine and she's allowing herself to trust a man, there's not a better feeling that actually comes from that. And I do know that. So I want to give a special shout out to the women that have gone through that tough, challenging process of battling your own masculine energy to then recreate a healthier relationship with it so that it doesn't have to prevent you from being able to enter into a partnership that is worthwhile and that is meaningful for you, and then creating a family. So special shout out to all the women that are honoring that process, that are out there. I know it's few amongst many, but I know you are out there and I know you're listening to this as well. And shout out to you. Okay, with this being said, we're going to wrap it up here. Hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Drop down in the comment section. Let me know if you learned something from this. Let me know if you've ever been in a relationship, whether you're a man or a woman, and you've noticed some of these things come through. And also let me know where you are right now. Like, are you in a relationship where this dynamic is at play, and how is it working out for you? Or potentially, are you in a relationship where this dynamic is not at play and you're noticing kind of the discord that comes from it? I would love to hear your perspective. Hit the notification bell, get notified whenever I post. I post every single day. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's going to further connect you to everything I do. Now, also copy and paste this link and send it to someone that you feel like will gain value from it. I'm going to take your awareness now to the most important link. This is the Patreon. I have exclusive content all over my Patreon. I have an entire magic training course, which is basically like going to college for occultists, that gives you a whole step-by-step educational and demonstration process to follow to start developing some of your psychic capabilities. Then I have a whole host of other collection sections that goes into things like trauma, education, shadow work, nervous system regulation, more education on angels and demons and Kabbalah initiation. Literally everything that you could imagine is over on my Patreon. So check it out. At tier 3 and 4, you're gaining access to something really unique, which is called the Universe B Ritual Service. This is the only ritual that I personally perform for my collective. It's something I do on the 29th of every single month, and it's an energetic transfer from me to you as the receiving participant. This is going to support you through some of the deepest processing of your unconscious mind, meaning it's going to initiate a process of pulling up a lot of repressed energies in your body so that they can start being integrated and felt through. And the ritual service supports that whole process taking place. As you start integrating those energies, you're going to be merging more with your shadow, becoming one with it, so that your shadow can start working with you in your everyday life rather than against you, which is what most people experience. There's tons of people that take advantage of this every single month on a continuous basis that are leaving positive feedback for how it's affecting them as they're receiving it. So if this is something that you are interested in, I would highly recommend you check it out. It's the first link below. Second link is where you can book a call with me, or you can jump into mentorships. This is one of the most powerful ways to personally work with me. We're going to create a whole foundation for your process of self-development, and then we can start getting into initiatory things if you're interested in it. So definitely consider that as well. It's in the second link below. In the same second link, you have an option to book a tarot card reading with Alexia. She's really gifted at what she does, so definitely look into that if you want a tarot reading. Third link is the LUCIFERS Foundation course. This course gives you everything you need to know step by step on how to build a healthy relationship with the energy that is known as Lucifer. So definitely look into that as well. Fourth link is the YouTube memberships. This is where you can join into the Universal Mastery family. So I would absolutely love to have you a part of the family, the inner community, where it's a bunch of us as like-minded individuals that come together and are here to support each other on this process of self-development. So definitely look into that. Now, the fifth link is going to be my book recommendations for you. This is going to be books for occultists, who are looking for tools that they can always refer back to throughout their entire practice to use with whatever it is that you're doing. So definitely, if you need some books to purchase, go to that 5th link and look at those books. All right. With that being said, we're going to wrap it up here. I appreciate all of you very, very much. And I hope you all have an amazing rest of the day or night, wherever you are. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace.